All right, today's lesson is going to be on categorizing data. So, categorizing data, categorical data is data that is sorted into categories, hence the word categorical, right? On the basis of qualitative characteristics. That's the official definition of categorical data. Ultimately, it's sorting data by, instead of numbers, we're sorting data based on red, blue, green, or cat, dog, horses, whatever. That's what qualitative is, okay? And we've already talked about what mode is, right? So we've got this definition. And we've got this definition. We already talked about what mode is. And mode is a categorical data. A categorical data set that occurs most often. That's the official word definition of mode. We just say, hey, mode is the one that appears most often. That's the summarize of a categorical data set that occurs most often. All right, let's get into like what we're actually doing. Oh, we have one more vocabulary word. Forgot about that. Relative frequency. Relative frequency. Relative frequency is the ratio of the frequency of the data to the sum of all the data frequencies. Sounds like this is really hard, but I'm going to give you what it means in layman's terms, in 6th grade terms. Here it is. Ready? The percent of that data. So relative frequency is always going to be a percent. That's what you need to remember. Relative frequency is the percent that occurs. All right, so let's get into what that all means, because y'all look like y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. So here's my example. It says my favorite color. We had 25 students that we surveyed. Okay, 25 students. So what was the total number? 25. Okay, and when I did my observation or my survey, I found that there was 6 people that liked blue, 5 people that liked red, 11 people that liked green, and 3 people that liked yellow. That is my frequency.
Excuse the interruption. Good morning, everyone. At this time, testing can begin. Thank you.
If you're watching this video, just ignore that. Just ignore that. Okay. I'm not redoing that one. Okay, so here's my frequency. That's like, remember yesterday we were doing those tally marks, right? With the ducks. Anybody? Bueller? Yeah, we were doing the ducks and we did the tally marks. We put a little lines. Okay, on our notes, yes. And so this is the same thing. Frequency is the number of times that people chose blue. The number of people that chose red, okay? So, total students. How many total students did we have? 6 plus 5 plus 11 plus 3 is 25. Good. Okay. So, just make sure we know that. Now we're going to go, this was our frequency. Now we're going to go ahead and make our relative frequency. Relative frequency table. Okay. So, first I'm going to do my colors. We had blue. We had red. We had green, and we had yellow, which I'm not going to use yellow. I'll use orange for that. All right, those are my colors, right? So the relative frequency, this is where I'm going to be using my proportion. How many total students? 25, so that's going to be my denominator. How many chose red? So my It's going to be 5 over 25 is equal to x over 100. Because 5 out of 25 in relative frequency always needs to be what? A percent. So if it asks you for a relative frequency, it's saying, hey, find the percent. Okay? So what did I do to 5 to get to 100? What did I do to 25 to get to 100? Times 4. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 5 times 4 is 20. So what is red? What percent was red? 20%. All right, green. Again, total number of students was 25. How many chose green? 11. What did I do to 25 to get to 100? Multiplied it by 4, whatever I do to the bottom. And 11 times 4 is? So what percent chose green? Perfect. And then yellow, what was the total number of students? Do what? 3. No, what total number of students? 25. How many chose yellow?
3.
What did I do to 25 to get to 100?
Multiply by 4.
Whatever I do to the bottom.
Go to the top.
3 times 4 is?
12.
What percent chose yellow?
12%.
Perfect. That's it. That's all I have to do. Relative frequency is just finding the percentage. So now I'm going to go ahead and make a bar graph. What do I need? There's 3 things that I must have on a bar graph. What is it? Go for it. Yes. I need labels, right? Those 3 labels. What is one of the labels? I need a title. So our title would be favorite color. What else do I need?
The side, the bottom ones.
What is that called? That bottom line is called a what? My x-axis. So my x-axis is going to be my colors. And then, of course, we will have blue. Oh, blue. Yeah, sorry. So we'll have blue. We'll have red. We'll have green. And we will have yellow. You don't have to do all the colors. I'm just doing it because it's fun. All right. What else? I need another thing. What is this axis called? Y-axis. And we're just going to call that the frequency. All right. Now I need to label my lines. And so when I look here, I'm just going to go by, remember, this is my relative frequency. So I'm just going to go by 10. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And now, simply enough, I'm going to do my bar graph. Blue was what percent? 24. So it's going to go about there. Red was what?
20.
Do these bars touch?
No.
What kind of graph is that at the bars touch? Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Okay.
A histogram, very good. Green was what percent?
44.
All right. And yellow was 12. So let's say about there. I have made me a beautiful graph of my categorical data using relative frequency. All right. All right, are y'all ready for the back? Okay. All right, looking at the back, we have our percent line graph. I'm going to go ahead and highlight these. So we've got a percentage line graph, a percentage circle graph, and a percentage bar graph. Guess what all these are going to have with it? What? Percentage, right? Very important, percentage. Okay, so looking at my line graph, line graphs can be used to display data. So looking at my number line that I have here, I have a 0 and a 1, right? So this is one whole, correct? Yes? This isn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 0 to 1. So what do you think that these are, what each tally mark is? C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. You're guessing, it's not going to help me. So this is going to be 1/8. This would be 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then 8/8. Remember way back when we did benchmark fractions? Yeah? What was the 1/8 as a percentage, since we're talking about percentages? Sorry, Cannon? 12.5%, right? Now, knowing that 1/8 is 12.5%, what is 4/8? 1/2, which would be what percentage? 50%. Good. And then we could continue doing our percentages there, correct? Awesome. All right. A percentage bar graph. A percentage. Yeah. Percentage bar graph are a pictorial display of statistical data using a percent in a bar graph that can be horizontal or vertical. So vertical being up and down. Remember, Miss Armstrong is vertically challenged, aka I'm short, right? Or horizontal, left and right. So this would look like a percent bar graph that would be horizontal. And then this would be 0%. This would be 100%. So if I shaded all of this in, what percent is that? If I said, hey, look, what percent is that? 75%, right? This is 50%. This is 25%, right? That is what a percent bar graph looks like. And then the other one is we have a percentage circle graph. Now we're going to go into this in a couple of days, but there's no reason why we can't talk about it now. So a circle graph is a pictorial display of statistical data. So here we have, of course, what shape do you think it's going to be in? Circle. And if this circle would be equivalent to 100%, right? And if I were to do this, what percentage did I cut it into? Thirds, right? What about now? Whoa, look at that, sixths, right? Yes? All right. And then if I shaded this in, that would be 33 1/3%. All right, so just kind of getting that idea of what that line graph, what a percent bar graph, and what a circle graph is going to look like. So we're going to focus a little bit more on the bar graph part because we talked about a line graph a lot. We talked about a line graph a lot when we were doing benchmarks. We're going to go into circle graphs in a couple of days. So right now we're going to focus on a bar graph. Okay? All right. Says the musical program in somebody's junior high has 15 students in orchestra and 35 in band. Display the data in the percentage bar graph below. Okay, so I need to do orchestra and band. Okay, how many total people in the junior high in the musical program?
35.
No. 35 was in band and 15 were in orchestra. So total is how much? 35 plus 15 is going to give me a 50 total, correct? All right, I got to change that color. That one's fat. All right, so if the orchestra has 15 students out of how many? 50. So we're going to set up a proportion. So our orchestra over total, and doing my labels will help me tremendously. How many were in orchestra? 15. How many total? 50. What am I doing to 50 to get to 100? Whatever I do to the bottom. So 15 times 2 is? So what percent was in orchestra? 30. All right. Band has how many students? Out of?
Wouldn't it just automatically be 70 since that one?
Oh, we're going to get to that. Good. Yes. Yes. We're going to get to that in just a second. So we are going to do 35 over 50. What am I going to do to 50 to get to 100? Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top, which is going to give me 70, which would give me 70%. All right? Now, Mason said, hey, Miss Armstrong, there's only 2, so if I knew that orchestra was 30%, I know it has to add up to how much? 100%. So she already knew without having to do this proportion that it's going to come out to 70. But she's going to do the proportion anyways, just to make sure she was right. So we've got sum of all the percentages, 30% plus 70% has to equal 100. That's one way of being able to check. Once I've done all my proportions, if I add those percents up, if it doesn't come out to 100, then one of them is wrong, right? Okay, so let's really talk about how to organize this into a percent bar graph, because this is probably the hardest part of all of this. The proportions is easy because we hammered that into you when we were doing proportions. It's doing the bar graph. Okay, we know that the orchestra was 30%, right? So I'm going to start at 0 and I'm going to go to 30%. Nope, 30%. We're not doing the students, we're doing the percentage. Okay, so I found 30% and I'm going to write orchestra. All right, now the next thing is I've got band is 70%. Well, I don't just find 70 and draw a line, because that's not 70%, because I started from here. And I'm going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Does everybody see how I did that? I don't just find 70 and draw a line. I have to count 70%. So that's going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So then I'm going to draw a line just to make sure. And I'm going to write band. All right. So far, so good? Okay. So here I've got, that one was pretty easy because there was only 2. Well, look at this one. We've got 4 of them. So it says the table above shows the dessert preferences of the students in Miss Lewis's class. Which percentage bar graph best displays this data? Before I even look at my answer choices, I'm going to draw a whole nother piece to my table. What do you think that piece of the table is going to be? Percents. And I'm going to have to find the percents for each one of those. So I'm going to first look at cookies. Well, first of all, what is the total? 24. No. Total number of students. So, are you sure? Add up. 24 plus 18, 8, 12, plus 42, plus 36, I think I missed one. Oh, this is supposed to be a 4. That's why. I knew I was doing something wrong. 120. So my total is 120 students. Very important that I get that total. Now I can go ahead and start writing my what? my proportions. So cookies, I'm going to do 24 over 120 is equal to something over what? 100. I'm going to do that same thing for ice cream. 18 over 120 equals something over 100. Cake is going to be 42 over 120 equals something over 100. And then pie is 36 over 120 equals something over 100. I have all my proportions. Now comes the easy part of solving. How do I solve a proportion? Because 120 doesn't go into 100 nice and pretty, right? So what am I going to have to do? Cross multiply and divide? Yes? Cross multiply and divide. Cross multiply and divide. So I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to go ahead and come up with their own percentages. So if you're watching this video, working on this, there's going to be a little bit of silence as they're working. You should be working as well. So what should, after I add them all up, what should all of them add up to be? 100%. Good. What's great is I can just go ahead and add the 2 zeros, right? I don't have to actually do 24 times 100. I know that 24 times 100, I just have to add the 2 zeros, which would give me 2400, right? Then if I'm dividing by 120, I can get rid of 1 0, right? 12 goes in there 2 times. And I'm gonna get, where's my color? 20%. Is that what y'all got for the first one? Good, 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 good. All right, let's do the next one. Did y'all get 60 for the next one? Just joking. 16, not 60. That's what happened. 15. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I'm losing my mind here. 15%. Then we've got goes in there 2, 3, 36, 6, Then we get 35%. And then 30%. Did y'all get that? All right, let me go ahead and make sure that I've done my math correct. And so 20 plus 15 plus 35 plus 30 gives me 100. So I know that they all add up to 100%, so that's good. Now, we're gonna look at this data. Now that I have all of my percentages, I'll go ahead and write those over here. 20%, 15%, 35%, and 30%. Now I'm going to look at my bar graphs. All right, so I've got cookies. I want you, very, very important because it's very easy to make these mistakes. It's going to help you if I don't even look at my answer choices right now. I'm not even gonna look at my what I worked out. I'm gonna come and I'm going to write inside here, what is cookies at? I'm thinking like, it kind of looks like maybe a 25%. Would y'all agree? So I'm gonna write in here 25%. Because these aren't the number of times, or the number of students, this is all what? Percentages, right? Ice cream. Now this is where you have to think about it. So ice cream is starting at, I'm just looking at this right here. Does everybody see that? So from here it's 5, right? And then 10. 5 and 10 is what? 15. And then another 5 is going to be what? 20. So this is at 20%. Does everybody see how I counted that? All right, when I get to cake, starting at this 5, so 5, and then 15, 20, sorry, I didn't count that right, 25, 35, it looks like it ends halfway, so it looks like it's at 40, right? And then pie is 5, 15. You see how I'm writing the percentages in there? Yes, no? All right. Do the same thing with B. Looking at where it goes across. What is cookies going to be? 20%. 20%. And then ice cream? 15. So I'm going to come across. 10, 15. Good. And then cake?
35.
Let's see, 5. Let's see, I gotta draw my little lines here. 10, 20, 35. Very good. And then pie? 30. All right, and my last one down here. Cookies, it looks like it's at 15%. And then ice cream is at 25. Cake is at 25. Y'all agree? And pie is at 35. All right, now I have all my percentages in there. Now I'm going to look at the percentages that I've already worked. Cookies should be at 20%. This says cookies is at 25. Nope. Cookies is at 20. Cookies is at 15. Bam. That was easy enough. Right? I could have also looked over here at pie. Should be 30%. That's not right. 30%, 35%. Only one it can be is B. Very good. All right, we're going to anchor tab this into our journal because we have a lot of work. There's nothing to be cutting off. So we're going to have to like anchor tab it here, almost sideways, and then fold it up. Actually, I would want you to probably do it like this and fold it up this way and glue it into your journal. So you're only going to glue just this little anchor tab so that you can still open it and see both sides.